What's up and welcome to the Sam Dracula channel, a Charlotte Hornets fan channel, and the lottery is done. The order is set. No changes for the Hornets. We're picking 13 and 15. Thank you, New Orleans. So the NBA draft is June 23rd. We have a lot of time between now and then. Things will change as priorities change. We'll see what happens. But now, with only 4 teams left in the playoffs, teams can start looking at making deals if they want to, right? And if the Hornets want to get involved, they do have some options. They have expiring contracts in Oubre and Plumlee. They have these 2 first-round draft picks, 2 good first-round draft picks. So, they can get mixy if they want to. The Hornets have 2 on-court needs that have to be addressed before next season starts. That's center and point guard. We need a center that's athletic, that can rim run, that can block shots, that can rebound. That needs to happen this summer. The other thing that needs to happen is the Hornets need another point guard. Now, not coming after LaMelo's space at all, but we need a backup point guard, right, that can spell LaMelo, but also a guy that can play with LaMelo, allowing him to play off ball. We saw a glimpse of that with Isaiah Thomas in the mix, and we saw what LaMelo could be as an off-guard player. Terry Rozier, the point guard, not a fan of it. We've seen Ish Smith come and go, Brad Wanamaker come and go, Devontae come and go. Isaiah Thomas has been the best option we've seen as that other point guard with LaMelo Ball. And if that means bringing him back next year and being that veteran presence in the locker room, 1-year deal, I'm here for it. Run it back with Isaiah. But long-term, that needs to be addressed. And I think there's an opportunity to do that this summer. The rest of the roster is fine, like legit. Like this team has size and athleticism everywhere and depth everywhere else, but the point guard and the center spot, which are pretty damn important. Combination of addressing those on-court needs and hiring a new coach, the Hornets can see themselves into the next tier of the Eastern Conference, in the tier with the Raptors and Bulls, like in that area. I'm not talking Celtics, Heat, Bucks, Nets area. I'm talking that next level down, where I think the Hornets should be shooting for at this stage. I think they're good enough. They can be good enough to get in that mix. With the lottery done and the draft order set, I think draft day goes one of 3 ways. As expected, it was like a 90-something% chance they ended up with the 13th pick, and that's where we're at. So we know we have the 13th pick and the 15th pick. So option 1 is nothing. Stay at 13, stay at 15, and draft. Simple. Who do we take, right? Well, on NBA.com, they have a consensus mock draft from all the aggregating all the stuff from all the different websites. Mark Williams, leading contender for the spot. Ringer has us taking him. ESPN has us taking him. The Athletic has us taking Mark Williams. Abaji's sneaking in there from SI.com. So, among the mix, Ty Washington here. This is pre-lottery though, so who knows? Like Dyson Daniels has been linked to being around that area. Eason, Jang, Sohan. We'll see, right? Maybe Duran slips down there. That's the ideal scenario. More on him later. Bleacher Report has us taking Mark Williams. So CBS Sports has us taking Mark Williams. So it's running theme here, right? So Mark Williams selected with the 13th overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft. Let's just assume. What do you do with that 15th pick? Well, I think you go best player available, right? Especially if that best player available is a guard. And I'm hoping, I'll have my fingers crossed on draft day, that Dyson Daniels is there. Any combination of Sohan, Abaji, Eason, any of those guys, but Dyson Daniels, I think, would be my preferred 15th pick if it played out that way. But one thing to be mindful of is that the Hornets might not have a draft pick next year. And this is why I'm leaning towards this first option of keeping both picks, because on paper, this team doesn't need more rookies. But the Hornets might play themselves out of a first-round draft pick next year. It's top 16 protected. This is the Kai Jones trade from last year. There's a case to be made to hold in pat taking 2 first-round draft picks this year while you can, because ideally, we're not in the bottom 16 of the league next year and are improving and making a decent playoff push. So thinking ahead, right? Taking 2 rookies in the first round this year wouldn't be too bad, right? And with that 15th pick too, that also means they could take more of a risk or on more of like a raw project right? It doesn't have to be a guy that's NBA ready right now, because we have Greensboro. We have the developmental system that they can stash him at if they need to. So they have options with that 15th pick, considering what lies ahead with future draft pick commitments. Option 2 for the Hornets, I think, is to trade up. This one's more difficult because you need a trade partner, and I don't know how far teams are willing to fall back into the draft. So if the goal is to get Jalen Duren, which I think is fair and reasonable, they're looking at somewhere between, Indiana and New York. I don't think Duren falls past New York with the situation with Mitchell Robinson and being a free agent, and like Nerlens Noel's injury issues. Like, there's no way he passes New York. So if they want him, maybe they can work out a draft day trade with New York. If he falls that far, maybe they have to get ahead of New York, but probably somewhere in this range. Maybe Portland would consider something like that, but is that too high to take him, the guy you want? So I think the Hornets can maybe pull off a deal with the Pelicans as they look to just supplement the roster with more dudes, with more guys. Portland are in the middle of a rebuild, so maybe they want more assets to play with by trading down a fair few spots, but it's going to be really tough. Maybe Washington would do it, maybe San Antonio, but I think it's very unlikely. And again, I don't think Duren falls past New York, but maybe the 13th and 15th pick are enough to get up into this range of the draft, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. So option 3, using one or both those picks to bring in an NBA ready player, like an established player. They can use the 13th pick, trade the 15th pick, trade the 13th pick, use the 15th pick, or trade both. Plus the Oubre expiring contract, the Plumlee expiring contract. They can do something on draft day to bring in a guy who can help right now. They have flexibility there. If they want to put those contracts together and really go big, they could do that too. So like, look at Houston, right? They have Şengün already. They're going to draft by Banchero, Chet, or Jabari, some combination of them. One of them, right? Assuming. Christian Wood could be available for not a lot of money. His contract matches up pretty nicely with Oubre. And maybe if you do one or two of those picks plus Oubre's expiring for Christian Wood, right? These are the type of deals that I think are on the table. Also think like Jakob Poeltl from San Antonio, right? Like the Hornets could do one or both those picks plus Plumlee's expiring contract for Poeltl. They have options. I don't love their options. And hell, like even with Orlando, maybe Orlando are willing to move Wendell Carter, right? They re-sign Bamba, they draft Chet. Maybe they think Carter's expendable at that point, and they can look at adding more assets to the fold with some of our picks and adding an expiring contract to the mix. So like, there are options available, not as many as there could be. Like guys like DeAndre Ayton, Mo Bamba, like I just mentioned, those potential sign and trade deals aren't possible under this scenario with these picks. Unfortunately, I wish we could, but we can't. And then there's also like the old reliable Miles Turner. No, thank you. Just in general, no thank you. I'm not about trading for a center with a bad foot. Like that's red flags. There's way too many red flags around that for me. Plus, I think Indiana's trying to do something this year. I don't think they trade him. So the options aren't great for my money. If I'm in the front office, I stick with option 1. I keep the 13th and 15th pick, and I take Mark Williams and best player available, hopefully Dyson Daniels, and rock with it, assuming that we won't have a first-round draft pick next year, knowing that we took 2 first-round draft picks this year and 2 first-round draft picks last year. I think Duren's a really dope prospect. I don't think it's realistic to expect a team to trade down unless we're giving up something a little too crazy. I kind of would rather just rock with Mark Williams and best player available at that point versus, rolling the dice on one dude, kind of spread the chips out, taking 2 shots at the first round this year. I'm pretty okay with that. And then, like I mentioned before, the trade market doesn't really like give me the warm and fuzzies, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's someone I'm not considering, and the Hornets could do a madness. Like, I have full faith in Mitch Kupchak. We'll see who the next head coach is. A lot to be determined, but I'm here for it. It's gonna be a fun offseason. Programming note from me and the channel. You probably won't see as many videos as you would normally expect from me during the off season. I have some family stuff I have to deal with. So I'm going to be in and out of Charlotte probably all summer long. So if I can make a video, I'll make a video. If I can't, I can't. This is going to be how it is for the next few months as we deal with this family stuff. Unfortunately, really sad time for all of us in real life. So we'll get through this. But the Hornet stuff is a fun distraction. I enjoy doing it. It's fun to do. That's why I do it. I tell people the day it stops being fun is the day I stop doing this. So I appreciate all the support and everyone that comes through and subscribes and likes and comments and all that stuff, hangs out on the live streams, all that stuff. It means the world to me. But until next time, I appreciate y'all. I've been Sam. You've been great. I'll see you next time. Peace.